Welcome to the Northern Powerhouse interview series, where we're unashamedly spreading good news by interviewing Northern businesses and their successes during the pandemic. Subscribe to be notified of new interviews or click the link in the description to take part if you'd like to be interviewed yourself in a future episode.
Good morning and welcome to Northern Powerhouse Business Success Stories. So we have Christian Hartley from My Protection Guru with us here this morning. Christian is Head of Partnerships over there. So thank you ever so much, Christian, for your time and for having a natter with us today. So can I just start off by asking you to introduce yourself properly, and can you tell us a little bit about what you guys do and what you do for your clients?
Of course, yeah, it'd be my pleasure. So we are an independent protection advisor. So we specialise in helping businesses and families, normal everyday people, with their life insurance, income protections and illness covers. And what we try and do basically, our mission is to make sure every family that comes across us leaves us in a better position than when they found us. So our process is really about jargon busting, getting rid of talking about policies, products, features, anything like that, and really asking people what they care about, what they want to protect, why they want to protect it, and then making sure that they get the best cover possible at the best possible rates, really in a nutshell.
Brilliant. So, I mean, how have you guys found the last year or so? You know, how has everything that's gone on kind of affected you in terms of what you guys do and what you offer?
Well, it's a really weird one. Obviously, it's affected us all on a personal level. So, I've lost loved ones, not been able to travel for the funeral, but it's hit everyone quite hard in different ways. I was thinking about some questions, and I almost felt guilty to say that we've actually done quite well during the sort of whole pandemic. From a business point of view, it's reminded us to stay agile, which is an annoying buzzword, I know, and I don't like it, but we were already fully set up for remote working.
Brilliant.
So we've got advisors that work from home full time, and ones that do so around family commitments and stuff like that. So the shift of offices closing didn't create that much of an issue for us, which was great. We saw, as you can imagine, inquiries went through the roof a little bit at first. There was an increase of interest from the general public because there was an increased sense of mortality.
Absolutely.
I don't like watching the news myself. It nags me a little bit, and all you hear about is death and doom and gloom. But a lot of people were thinking, you know what, it could be me. And human nature is to bury your head in the sand and think, it's never going to be me. I'm never going to be off of work. I'm not going to be the one that gets seriously ill. I'm not going to pass away before I'm, 100 years old and I've lived a long, happy life. So we saw a massive spike in the inquiries. We also saw big spikes in ad spend and marketing and lead generation from competition. So it was quite an interesting time. It gave us a good opportunity to shine through, and it gave us plenty of families to speak to that we could really give some good advice to and make sure they were set up, really.
Did it have a big impact on protection that you were able to provide, being in the middle of such a big unknown, and we've never in our lifetime we've never faced anything like this before? Was there a big issue in terms of the policies and protection? And
it's a good question. I'm trying to stay away from these annoying buzzwords, unprecedented times. That's all we said in all these meetings, right, for the first couple of months. I think the insurers were quite good. They reacted quite well. So there's certain things, if you understand in insurance and protection in our market, there's certain medical histories and conditions where the insurers would want to speak to a GP, get a medical report, send a nurse out to do a bit of screening with you. So that was obviously very difficult. GPs were, overrun, inundated and really struggling without the extra requirements of, right, I need a report on this person for this, X, Y, Z reason. We obviously couldn't get nurses to come out and do the screening. So the underwriting process slowed down a bit.
Yeah.
And we did see delays, and we saw people having to wait longer for the cover. But more often than not, people can get insured without any extra evidence needed. That's only in sort of, fairly complex medical conditions. So because we're independent, each insurer has a different underwriting stance. They all look at different medical conditions, family history and occupations differently. So we were able to explain to the client and say, look, XYZ insurer is the lowest premium possible, but they're going to want to write to your GP. We don't know how long that's going to take. Typically, it took this long before, but now, as you can imagine, we got no idea.
Yeah.
Or you can pay this amount and you'll be covered today. And I think that was important. And that was a conversational shift with the advisors and just saying, look, make sure the customer always has the option to speed things up a little bit. So things took a little bit longer in certain cases, but in the whole, there wasn't a, massive, oh God, shift, really.
Cool. What would you say is the biggest challenge that you guys have had to kind of face and overcome over the last year?
That's a really good question, because I think for us, from a business point of view, obviously, it's and a personal really, but it was being empathetic with customers that were facing massive uncertainty. There's always been a question on the furlough, how long will it last? What will I get if I'm made redundant? Will it continue? How's it going to affect me? So many real questions from real people with already so much on their plate to still get across how important their insurance is. So we've got, retentions teams where if people want to cancel, they'll just say, look, make sure you're sure, because if you've had your policy 5 years, if you start again when you're 5 years older, your price is going to increase. Is it the right thing to do? Do you understand your options? Can we pause it? Can we do anything else? So it's still an expense that they need to pay whilst balancing all these other things. It was all about being as understanding and sensitive about it in the right way. Another one was a shifting customer thought process. Okay. As I said earlier, there was that big universal shift of, oh God, what if it's me? A sense of your own mortality was a lot more prevalent than previously, is what we found. So what I saw was a lot of smaller brokerages and lead gen companies and marketing companies almost playing on the whole COVID thing, in my opinion, and almost saying, look, COVID, you've got to get covered now because of COVID. You best get some income protection if you're off with COVID. There was a big initial spike in interest in terms of inquiries and leads coming into the business, as I said. And of course, the first question from everybody we spoke to for that first couple of months is, does it cover me for COVID?
Yeah.
A lot of time the answer is yeah. Obviously, if you pass away, it doesn't matter how you pass away. There's certain exclusions, but each policy is different. 99% of the time we could just confidently say, yeah, of course it will. Until some insurers made changes. But again, we wanted advisors to be sensitive and careful, but to explain that your life insurance, your income protection, your critical illness cover isn't something that you should really just get for a couple of weeks or months. We didn't know how long it was going to last and the lockdowns were going to last, and then just cancel it. Because the advice that we give is supposed to be proper advice. It's not just a gimmicky, get it while you go on holiday, get it while you're in this job, get it while, it's part of your financial plan, and it's making sure your family's financially secure, your bills get paid if you're too ill to work or you pass away. And it was important for me, being head of partnerships and handling our growth and our marketing strategies, not to get drawn into just posting and discussing COVID content because it's topical.
Yeah.
It'd have been an easy in. Right? We know people are struggling. We know people are concerned. We know there's just so much going on. We didn't just want to say, get covered for COVID, make sure this, make sure that, just because of COVID. It didn't really feel right to us, really. So that was a challenge, sort of combating the people that were doing it and trying not to get drawn in to it, really.
So how did you overcome that with your team? I guess it's almost shifting mindsets and educating your clients, isn't it? How did you guys really nail that?
I think
We got a really good culture here, and the advisors are here because they can, they come to work to make money, of course, but they can do it in the right way. We encourage all the right behaviours. We're constantly on top of quality and call monitoring and customer feedback on the advisors. And we got a good group of people, so we weren't pushing water uphill with a fork.
Yeah.
It was a case of, right, let's have a discussion. Guys, make sure we don't get drawn into this. Make sure that you're addressing the COVID concerns, but you're still focusing on why they want and need and will benefit from this cover for the years to come. Don't get too short-term focused. It's about discussion, isn't it, really? Making sure people are on the same page. People don't just do stuff because you've told them. People need to buy into it. And I don't think that was something that was an overnight thing. That's something that we've been building and working on for the last 6 years, really. One thing I did want to say as well, a challenge for me personally, it's been strange not seeing partners face to face.
Yeah.
Things like commercial discussions, tech integrations, how the systems are going to work, how the delivery is going to work, how the process is, reporting, things like that. How are we going to work together? There's that initial upside of Teams and Zoom and Skype and Google Chime and Google Hangouts, Amazon Chime, all these different things I've had to download over the last 9 months. And you can get a lot more done in a day with stuff like that, because you can have, you could do 7, 8, 9 meetings back to back to back to back if you want to. Whereas when you're traveling, you can't do that. But some things are quite important to partners, and it didn't really feel like a video call carried the same weight.
Yeah.
Sitting down with someone, showing them you working, and this stuff is, it is class. All the screen sharing you can do, all the, collaborative software out there where you can, it's pretty much you're in the same room, but you're not. You can't see the way, the whites of somebody's eyes. You can't have a handshake or read somebody's body language. So that was a shift for me personally.
Yeah. Absolutely. Lots of people have said the same thing, Christian, that they're just really missing, those face-to-face interactions and going out and meeting clients. And, it's not the same, is it? Although I think there are so many of us that will continue to embrace this shift moving forwards. And like you say, it's so much more efficient. But it doesn't take away from that. For me, I'm with you. It doesn't take away that actually being in the same room.
Not as fun either, is it?
And, yeah.
I think you're always looking to grow and improve as a business, and efficiency is always something that's on, in the back of my mind. But also, it's quite fun. I do like going into offices and meeting for a coffee and going for a little bite to eat with a partner and spending a good hour, 2 hours, whatever, with somebody, rather than just let's schedule a 30-minute Zoom to see if you still like the proposal that I emailed up. It's not as fun. I don't enjoy it as much, personally.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got, we spend a lot of time at work. We've got to be doing the things that, that we're skilled at and that we really enjoy. So I'm 100% with you on that one. Good. So you mentioned about your culture there, that you guys have got a really, really strong culture. How has it been for your team? I know you were already set up for remote working, so that wasn't necessarily a big shift. But what adaptations have you had to make with the team to enable that strong culture and those values that you have to continue to be at the forefront?
Back on the Zoom thing, we still have regular catch-ups as a team.
Yeah.
So we have a weekly huddle. What's on your mind? What's on your chest? Here's where we're going. Here's your reports for the last week. Does anybody have any concerns, any questions, things like that? Still have regular one-to-ones with the advisors. Still get updates and presentations from insurers with their product changes. So, updates from us, but you also don't want to clog people's diaries up with constant meetings and catch-ups all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas in an office, it's an easy 5-minute thing to sit down with someone and say, how are you getting on? You okay? Do you understand this? Do you understand this rollout? Making business decisions when you can't sit in the same room as the board, the directors, our ops manager. Like when we can't sit in the same room, it's hard. A lot of email tennis and things like that when normally. Another thing, like, Liam, check this, check you're happy with this proposal. are we all on the same page with this? It's like a group email, because you can't set up a Teams because they've already got so many other Teams meetings.
Yeah.
I'm not going to set up a meeting 4 hours in advance to get a 30-second yes, no. So I send an email, and then it can be read in different ways. And no, it's a 20-second stroll to the desk.
Yeah.
What's that look like? Yeah, good. Perfect.
Yeah.
But back to the team though, making sure your team and your people are okay was something that we wanted to focus on.
Brilliant.
Headspace has been key.
Yeah.
You know, people are saying like mental health is a very current discussion right now, but it's always been important to us. Working in the protection industry, we see that mental health is one of the leading reasons to keep people from working.
Mm.
So we understand the importance. We see it day to day. It's not just a, topical sort of buzzword again for us. We understand the importance of practicing good mental health. Get your sent off for an hour, whenever even when people are in the office, they go to the gym whenever they want. If you need to go home and work from home for the afternoon because X, Y, Z's happen, fine.
Mm.
So the shift here is always ensuring it's a video call as opposed to just a voice call.
Yeah.
If your hair hasn't been done, or you sat in your joggers, or even your underpants in certain cases, whatever. If you rolled out of bed and you're still working, you haven't had a chance to brush your teeth yet because you're just in a bit of a downer day, get out and go for a walk. Go, you're limited with what you can do, so it's not like we can say, come on, let's go for a bite to eat and talk through it. It's different that way. But interaction helps. We massively increased our budget for incentives. So the last one, I think, first place, bless him, he bought a couch for his mum because he was already set up. So he won a suite. So we give that to his mum, vouchers for ASOS, stuff like that, and Bose headphones. Just things where, again, trying to adapt a little bit. We can't say, let's take you all out for beers. Let's take you all out for some food or anything like that. We listened to what people actually wanted to work towards.
Brilliant.
So allowing the people, the team, the guys that are doing it, allowing them to choose what they get rewarded with.
Yeah.
People that help us, people that have done little favours for us in wider parts of the team, arranged them a takeaway or a delivery of beers, delivery of wine for them and their families, because, again, we can't take you out or do anything. So just doing more things remotely.
Yeah.
And another thing, it comes back to a bit of a feeling of guilt, because we worked all the way through. We didn't need to take a day off, which we were lucky about. But everyone still had personal issues. It's easy to look in and say, what are you complaining for? You kept your income, you've not had a day off of work. But so many of the team, me included, struggled with the lockdown.
Yeah.
Not seeing friends, family, partners for months at a time. It's tough on everyone. So again, make sure they're okay. It's always easy to say, what about people that have got, friends with children that have special needs that need full-time care and they can't get help in anymore. So it's now all on them, and then they're trying to work from home. Well, you're not homeschooling, but I am. So it's different from, it's so easy to look in on someone else and think, well, you've got it way better than me. Why would you complain? So we stick away from that. What's on your mind? What's important to you? What's your reality? What are you struggling with? And half of the time, Vicky, you don't even need to come up with a solution. Sometimes it's just being here. Let them rant, let them get it off their chest, and people seem to appreciate that and feel better for it, I suppose.
Oh, honestly, it just, well done, you guys. It really just sounds like the focus that you've had on taking care of your people, which is just of paramount importance right now. Hats off to you guys. You've done a really brilliant job. Really brilliant job. Should be proud of yourselves. So what about you as a leader then within the business? As a senior leader within the business, what's been a massive sort of adaptation that you've had to make?
So with my role, obviously, I deal externally with the partners, so it's regular contact with them, making sure your reports don't stop. I can't come and see you, but I still need to make sure that you know what's going on. Nothing changes from your point of view, I think Liam and James, the two founders of the company, you know, I'm just the one talking about it. They did all the work, I think, and Christian Redmond, our operations manager, they were the ones that are sort of frontlining with the advisors. I try to chime in with positive news when I can. You know, if you brought a new partner on, we've got a new marketing campaign going out. We're going to see X amount of inquiries from this new relationship we've just built, you know, stuff that's just going to try and make the advisor job, the advisor work life anyway, easier. That's where I've tried to chime in, but realistically, the credit goes to the other guys that have been managing it and been taking more of the conversations and been running the incentives and stuff like that. You know, we all have the idea and talk about what we're going to do, but those guys executing it really are the ones that take the credit. I just get to be the ugly face of it, I guess.
I think by the sounds of it, you should give yourself a little bit more credit than you are doing. So tell me about some wins. You guys must have seen some wins. And I know it's, you know, people think, oh God, should we be talking about the wins right now?
Yeah.
Yes, we should.
Yeah. It's one of those, I seen, my girlfriend showed me this post on social media where someone sort of was celebrating a success, which I always love. Yeah, I don't like bringing people down to make myself feel better. You know, if they're killing it, they're killing it, and I'm happy for you, I'm buzzing. But the way that this girl worded her post was sort of like, I think she put "thank you COVID," and it was sort of like, I don't know, that's a bit insensitive. You know, you don't want to be the when the pubs finally open, you don't want to be the guy sat there going, oh, COVID was great for us. I'm glad it happened, you know, because that's a bit like, well, can't really put it like that, you know. So it's a touchy one talking about the wins.
Mm-hmm.
I think the home working bit for us was obviously massive. Like I said earlier, not having any real days off, no real disruption like others have seen was so important. We've built some really exciting partnerships to help us reach more families that need cover, more businesses that need cover and that need protecting. For our industry in general, personally, I think this whole pandemic was a universal oh shit moment for the country. People suddenly had real thoughts about what if I did lose my income tomorrow from something out of my control. You know, you might have the most stable job in the world, your boss might love you, the market's great, you know, something like this, like you say, it just comes from nowhere. Nobody projected whatever that this would happen and happen so quickly. And there's a lot of people now thinking, maybe we won't be that comfortable without my income. Maybe my girlfriend couldn't pay all the bills just on her income. And even if she could, would it be comfortable? Would I want to be in lockdown and I have to cancel Sky, I have to cancel Netflix, I have to change my Wi-Fi package because my income's not there anymore?
Yeah.
And that's made a lot of people soak in these thoughts and come to us for a lot more advice and be a lot more open about the conversations. And furlough itself is essentially income protection that's been paid for by the government.
Yeah.
So the way income protection works, you signed off of work by a doctor, you get a regular income paid between 50 to 70, sometimes 80% of your income, because obviously you can't get paid more when you're not working than when you are. So it's sort of basically the tax deductions. And it's not ideal getting 80%, 70%, 60% of your income, you know. It's not perfect. It's a fail-safe. It's a safety net. It's kept a lot of people under their own roof, which is so important. So I think that, again, just introducing things like income protection is now a case of saying, look, it's basically furlough, but it covers you for anything. It's not just because COVID happened. If you break your leg, you have a bad back, your mental health, you know, whatever. If you're off work, there's obviously caveats, you know, don't take that as advice. There's different ways that the policies work, different deferred periods, you know, different payment terms. But in a nutshell, without, you know, going so hyper insurance, boring, technical, what it is.
Absolutely, and you're absolutely bang on. I mean, it's something I hadn't had until this year. It's something that I just kind of thought, I've got life insurance, why would I need income protection insurance? Or I've got critical illness insurance, why would I need that? And I've just become so much more aware, and I think maybe been better educated over the course of this year in terms of insurances and protecting your family, and what would you do if the worst happened. And I'm now an advocate for it. I've got it, and I wouldn't not have it now.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
If you think I've got life insurance, it covers me. I remember it happened with my own brother. Before I think I was working away at the time. So I worked in Switzerland for a number of years. And I'd come back and he's talking to me about his insurance that his mortgage broker set up. And he's telling me how singing and dancing and great it is. As soon as he told me the price, I thought, it doesn't sound right. And you look at it and he hasn't got the cover that he thought he had. And this is why we say, when we're promoting, when we're marketing, when we're trying to reach people, we're not saying your cover's not good or you need every single cover there is. In an ideal world, of course you would have it all. You'd have private medical as well, and you wouldn't have any wait to see a doctor, and your income would be protected, and you'd get a lump sum if you were critically ill, and then you'd leave, mortgage free, they'd enough to buy a house, and you'd leave the kids alone. Of course you would, but budgets come into it. People can pay for what they can pay for, and that's priority number one, really, because what's the point of us recommending a policy that costs, £150 a month if somebody only wants to spend 20? What's the point having a £5 policy if actually what you care about more is protecting your income and making sure that your bills, your house, your family is safe if you're seriously ill? So what we do is encourage a conversation, find out what you've got and find out if that's actually what you want and if there's anything else that suits you better. Don't just put a square peg in a round hole. Find out if there's something that can be tailored to you. And that's what our advice is about. And that's why we don't talk policies. People come to us and say, I want a critical illness plan. Why do you want that? So that it pays my bills if I'm off work. So, well, that's not how a critical illness plan works, but an income protection might be better suited to you. Yeah. But because they don't know it exists, they're not going to go on Google and look for something that they don't know the name of.
You just don't know what you don't know.
There you go.
So if you guys could go back in time to last March, knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently? Or is there anything that you would have done sooner?
I don't think there is anything, to be totally honest. And like I say again, we were lucky enough, and it is just by chance to be ahead of the curve with the home working. And I say look because obviously we were forward thinking and we were glad we did it, and we did it for a reason, to be flexible. But we weren't thinking of a global pandemic when we were talking about remote working and getting people laptops to work from and secure systems where they don't need to physically be in an office. So we can't sort of, do you know what I mean? I don't want to take too much credit out.
No.
We're so clever. We predicted COVID. We wanted flexibility, and it came up trumps. If I had to say something about doing it sooner, I would probably say the management and leadership structure, setting the regular calls up earlier than being reactive, because obviously there was that initial shock. Yeah. And it was sort of, right, okay, let's sort of see how it goes. And then at the end of the week, right, we normally have a meeting here. Let's move that to Zoom. Do you know what I mean? It maybe if anything I had to change, forced to change something, it maybe say, look, we sat down on day one and said, right, let's do this, this, and this. But then sometimes you have to be reactive because you're learning as you go on. You don't know everything that you're going to know at the start of a situation. So
hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it? Yeah. We've all learned a lot. Definitely. What would you say over the course of this, this last 9, I keep saying 9 or 10 months, but it's basically a year now, isn't it? Almost a year.
That's what's worrying.
Isn't it? It's almost a whole year gone. What would you say you've learned the most about yourself?
That's an interesting one. I think for me personally, I think for a lot of our team, you're more resilient and adaptable than you ever thought. It's easy enough to get stuck in your ways and sort of think, this works for me, this is my style, this is how I do things. But there are other ways to work and improve and be better and sharpen your skills and be better in many ways than you just don't think about, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and it's things that we know, right? It's one of those things where when you think about it, it's like, I know to keep an open mind. I know that my cup's never too full. I know, but it's a reminder. keep an open mind, always be empathetic with other people's situations, and always think, do you know what? I'll try a different way, and I'll properly try it. I won't sort of go in being like, this ain't going to work, but I'll keep you happy. Try it. And on a sort of non-business personal level, it reminded me again to take a step back, be grateful, smell the roses once in a while, you know, stay in touch with loved ones more regularly, and how much you appreciate little things like giving friends and family a little cuddle, being able to sit down and have a coffee, being able to nip round to my brother's. And my brother had a baby in November, little Florence, and you know, looking at her through the window and looking at pictures of her is the same as giving her a little squeeze. And it's little stuff like that that you don't, well, you take for granted, I guess. So that's something I've learned about myself. I'm a bloody big softie, and I quite like being able to do these things, and having it taken away was a bit of a eye-opener, which I'm grateful for.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And what does the future hold for you guys, My Protection Guru?
I think the future's bright for everybody, us included. I think people and businesses have learned to be more caring about staff as well as customers. I think we've all adapted to be stronger, ready for challenge, ready to work in a much more collaborative way. I think, and I hope, we'll be quicker and more willing to help each other moving forward. But I also hope that we all carry on the ability to ask for help. You know, a bit less ego in business. Not, I'm great, our revenues are this, and hiding away or keeping the negatives to yourself. It's a bit poisonous. Get them out there, talk about the negatives, because you might have a connection or a friend or a colleague or someone that's worked somewhere different to you. Have a solution. You know, don't shy away from sticking your hand up and saying, look, I'm struggling here. I need help. I need advice. I need some support. And we're only human. No one's perfect. We can all learn from how hard the last year has been. Don't, you know, if you have been struggling, admit you've been struggling. Someone might be able to help. It might be a little conversation, a little arm around you when we don't have to socially distance, that just says, yeah. You know, you might look at someone that's, you think, oh, they've flown through this lockdown. They've gone from strength to strength. They've benefited. They've been great. And having a conversation with them, that, you know, they might just say, actually, I found it really, really hard. Don't just look at the perfect Instagram or LinkedIn post. This is how it's been, because more often than not, it hasn't been like that. And people seem to be. See a lot of posts on LinkedIn, people asking for help. You know, I've lost my job and I really need somewhere, or, you know, I haven't got any time to do anything, so I'm going to just help. It's been great, you know, so I hope we keep that. I hope we stick with it.
Definitely. Oh, listen, Christy, it has been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. I think I could chat with you all day. And it sounds like you've got an amazing team, and yeah, I absolutely take my hat off to you guys. You've taken care of them, and you know, just ensure that their well-being is at the forefront of everything you guys have been doing, which it's really.
That's lovely to hear you say. That's lovely. The one thing that I would say is we've looked after each other. It's not just been, you know, one or two people being the Mother Teresa for everybody. We've all looked after each other. You know, we've all stayed in touch and helped and chatted and waffled, and it's been a collaborative thing. You know, the team leads by example, and I think it'd be a good chance for us to set the opportunity to say thanks to all the gurus at MPG. I think you've been amazing over the last year. You've got your head down, you've cracked on, you've helped each other when needed, and we're really, really grateful for it. And just want to thank all the guys, actually.
Brilliant. Absolute testament to your culture and your team. Listen, thank you so much, Christian. We really do appreciate it, and wish you guys lots of luck and success in the future.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. What was your takeaway from today's interview? Please post it in the comments below, and subscribe for all our upcoming videos, or click for the next video here.